Hey.
Hey. How's it going?
Good. What's going on?
Not much. I've been eating a Raisin Bran, so.
The fact that you do everything for Grimes. You write, you perform, you record yourself, you produce, engineer, you make the art.
I should probably stop doing all these things. It's like insane.
This album has been many years in the making. Where in the process did Delete Forever start?
That was like an early one of the first songs. Because I made most of it when Lil Peep died. I've had like a few of my very close friends die from opioid addiction related problems. So when Lil Peep died, I was just like super hardcore triggered. I just like had like a mini breakdown but then kind of just like went and like worked on music. Do you ever like go to like a punk show or something and someone just plays an acoustic? Like I love like sort of like violent acoustic punk music. The guitar is weirdly actually like from a sample pack that I like stretched and pitched a bunch. I just wanted it to sound really raw because I was just feeling really raw.
There aren't many grime songs that are based around acoustic guitar, right?
No, I weirdly like acoustic guitar. I can't be that basic like from an ego perspective. Well, sorry. Oh, it's nice and mushy now.
Lying so awake, things I can't escape. Lately I just turn into demons.
I feel like there was like 8 years where I just like couldn't get over my first friend who passed away because I was like very, very close with her. Like it was just really intense. Like when you're that young to have like one of your best friends die in such a like disturbing way, I guess.
Flew into the sun and heroin. Lately I just turn them into reasons.
I've never actually done heroin, but it is a little bit about being self-destructive and like how you feel being self-destructive after your friend died. Like you're just like shitting on your friend's grave by just like dealing with the grief by doing this thing that killed them, basically.
But I can't see above it. Guess I fell in love, but I don't want to.
How do we emotionally deal with this stuff? Do you know like Jack Kirby's New Gods? I just got really compelled by the title. I was like, yeah, I want to make new gods. I want to make like the goddess of climate change, or in this case, like the goddess of like opioid addiction. Some of the first great art that we see is like the personification of painful or beautiful abstract concepts as gods. Maybe that helps people cope better, and maybe that helps society come together better. It seems easier to digest certain things when they're fictionalized. So this song is kind of meant to be sort of like about the goddess of addiction, the demon of addiction, something like that. The drums are kind of my favorite part.
It sounds like a 90s pop rock radio song or something.
Yeah, I think that 808 at the chorus, first chorus, is slightly too strong now, but whatever.
I like it.
You do like it? Okay, I can't tell if it's like insane. Sometimes I'm like, whoa, might have gone too far. Because the guitar is a loop, I was trying to artificially make it feel more organic. You know,
artificially make it feel more organic.
Yeah, no, I was like going through doing all these weird production things to make it sound like just like little textures and things in there, like so that it's like you can barely hear them, but it just adds like a.
So are there any real instruments on this track, or is it all digital?
No, there's like a real banjo, real violin. I had just always dreamed of making music with a banjo, and it was sort of like this dream that was like cut short tragically. The first instrument before I made Visions, I bought a banjo, and it was like $126. I remember this whole thing. It was like my first instrument, and I was like, oh, I love Dolly Parton. I'm going to make a country record and be like a country artist, which is like so crazy. And then as I was bringing the banjo home, I got on Craigslist. I was bringing it home, and this guy followed me off the bus and followed me into this like stairwell of my apartment building. I was like, wait, is this guy going to like attack me right now? So I just like turned around and just started screaming and beating him with the banjo, and I destroyed the banjo, but he left. Then I was like, It's like the craziest.
So you paid $126 for a banjo like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And then you beat a man with it in self-defense.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. And what is your skill like on the violin?
Extremely poor, but I'm really good at comping and studio magic.
So you're just playing little bits at a time?
Yeah, like I'd be like, da, da, tape it in, na, na, tape it in. Like I could put in 200 hours and be good at the violin, or I could put in like 45 minutes and make something really beautiful and then like make more things.
What if you hired a violin player?
Or I could hire a violin player.
But that doesn't seem like it's an option for you. Is there also like a DIY ethos?
Yeah, I get it's not so much an ethos as a comfortable, like I'm just so much more comfortable alone.
So you get this done really fast, this version of it, and then what happens?
I was sort of embarrassed of this song. Like, it's so clean and the vocals are so high, and like I'm still kind of embarrassed of singing, to be honest. It's just very naked. It's like when things are cloaked in like cool sounds and stuff, it's less vulnerable.
It's such a nice counterpoint from something like 4 a.m. Do you think this is the most vulnerable Grimes song?
One of them, for certain, for sure. Can you say for certain?
And was it cathartic to finally write a song about it?
I think it was. I've been wanting to write a song about it for like a long time, but I just like also felt shitty writing a song about it because, you know, like if it was all streaming and I didn't have to sell it on iTunes and it wasn't on the vinyl, it would like make me feel better because there's something about like selling it that just makes me feel really uncomfortable.
Are you making a video for this song?
We're recreating a scene from Akira, the cover of book 4. It's sort of a Nero type thing. It's like an empress sitting in like a decaying city as it's like being bombed to the ground. Akira is like a perfect piece of art, actually, pretty much.
Right.
And it was all made by one guy, Katsuhiro Otomo. It's crazy.
There you go. Just like Grimes. Where did you make... Are you feeling okay?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm just like... It is probably TMI, but I can't burp. Like, I have this burping issue.
Is that a function of pregnancy, or you could never burp?
Never burped. I've burped like 2 or 3 times in my whole life.
Wow.
I got the horses in the back.
The debt I owe, gotta sell my soul, 'cause I can't say no, no, I can't say no. Man, what's the deal? Man, I'm coming through. It's your girl, this so.